Welcome back to the Curtain Wire. I am so excited for my next guest today to have my high school classmate and friend Chris Ward joining. Chris, thank you so much for joining.
Hey Jared, thanks for having me, man.
Yes, tell us where you're calling in from.
Yeah, so I live out here in Arvada, Colorado. We're kind of like a western suburb of Denver, sort of thing. So yeah, it's a beautiful July morning, and I'm excited to talk with you.
Yes, yeah. So I wanted to have Chris come on today because he just recently released a film called The Journeying, and I just want to talk about the film, the process, and all the things that inspired it. So let's go to the beginning here. So yeah, tell us what did inspire this film? What inspired The Journeying?
How far back do you want to go to the beginning,
Let's
Jared?
go all the way back. Let's go all the way back.
All the way back. Okay.
Yes.
Well, so just a synopsis of what the movie is. So the movie is basically an adventure documentary, where I took four of my friends, back to my hometown, which our hometown, Jared, Muscatine,
Yes.
Iowa. But we wanted to go back in like an adventurous way, like a multi-day, backpacking style expedition, sort of. But you can't really backpack through Iowa because there's not a lot of public land. Like you'd be cutting through people's private lands and farms and things like that. So it'd just be really complicated. But we realized if you go on the rivers, you actually have access to public land because the actual sandbars, like the bottom of the river, is public land. So basically, we could camp anywhere we wanted to as long as it was like within the confines of the river. Uh, so that was kind of like the main adventure idea. But the real, like, you know how you kind of like doing some of these like creative projects, you kind of like Trojan horse like other ideas into it. you know
Yes. Yes.
so the real thing that I really wanted to talk about was just how people handle like the overwhelming nature of life, especially right now. Like I'm in my late 30s, just about to become 40 this year, and I wanted to learn from my friends and just see like how have they handled the busyness, the peaks, the valleys, the losses, um the big gains in your life, like being a father, like how do they handle that? So we kind of explored all those things through conversations on this adventure and through the wilderness, and I think like the wilderness can open you up, and it can allow people to be a little more vulnerable with each other, just from my experience doing these big trips. So I kind of want to like capture all of that and stuff.
Yeah. Well, because prior to like you make because this is your second film that you've done.
Yes,
Second doc
yeah,
yes. Because like prior to this, like you were like already big into like the outdoors, like running trails, exploring, doing all of that stuff, right? Is
yeah,
that
yeah.
yeah. And so like what inspires you to like because it's not like you go out and you like ran like a mile. Like you ran like long distances, like really early and like stuff that I'm just like, oh gosh, I could I could not like why? Yeah, like what inspired, you know, to though to run
Yeah,
those distances and to be outdoors and all the things.
it's interesting. I think there's a whole lot in there, and I've tried to kind of like unpack it over the last 10
Yeah.
years or so. But I started doing like ultra marathons and trail running probably like 12 or 13 years ago. And there was just something I really liked about being out in nature and moving through it on my own
Yeah.
2 feet. And there's
Like,
something else that like you throw on your backpack or your running vest or whatever and has everything you need in it, and you're you go out there and then you're just relying on yourself, and you're relying on the things that you have, and you also kind of know in your brain, like, if I just keep taking small steps in that direction, like eventually I'm going to get where I'm trying to go, which I think is such a beautiful kind of analogy for accomplishing goals and like things you want to do in your life. Like it distills it down into like a really simple thing, which is just endurance, and it's just like I just got to keep going that direction. So it's that, but then and it kind of started that way, I would say, and it started with trail running kind of being like a relief from complicated life stuff,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
I would go out. Basically, I would teach middle school all day. And then at the end of the day, I would joke with my wife, like, I just need to go out in the woods for an hour to like get my brain back because I can't think.
Yeah.
I have to like reset. And so it started with that. And then it got deeper where it was like, okay, this is actually helping me just take space and process like things that I've struggled with in life, like loss of loved ones and, big decisions and things like that, and be like my meditative moment to do that. And then it kind of evolved into like pushing myself, like how far can I push myself? How much of this can I handle? And then now it's kind of evolved into the other people that I've met along the way. And those have become really meaningful experiences, which is like going out and doing these big adventures with other people. So it's just been like a really interesting journey.
Yeah. I feel like it'd be definitely nice to be out, getting fresh air, seeing beautiful scenery, good stress reliever. I mean, I still don't know if I could do, if I could do it, but
Yes, you
also a good
totally could.
also a good workout. Also a good workout. Did you ever, when you were ever trail running, did you have like a set path that you were doing, like a set path, or did you ever just like go out and be like, I'm just gonna run and just go wherever, and if I get lost, or did you ever have you ever gotten lost?
I've gotten lost so many times. Yeah, so many
Yeah.
times. It was kind of a mixture. So when I started, it was in Danville, Virginia, and we had like I think it was like 50 miles of single track trails for like mountain biking. So I would do like different loops and stuff. So it was never like the exact same thing every single day. Uh,
Yeah.
and it's still the same for me now. Like I'll go out like this morning I ran my normal 6 mile loop out near my home. But last week I was in Rocky Mountain National Park. Just I took a day for myself up in the mountains and I had an idea of the trail I was going up, but then I was like looking at the map on my phone and I was like, oh, I could do like a huge loop here if I have the energy. And I was kind of like, maybe I'll just do that. So that was more of like an exploratory kind of like run there. And I came home and was telling my wife Lindsay about it. And, I was like, yeah, I didn't use music the whole time. And she's like, what? And it was like a 5 hour journey.
Oh.
And she's like, you're just in silence. I'm like, yeah, I was just kind of like thinking about stuff and like enjoying nature and all that stuff. So yeah, man, I love it.
Yeah, how is that though? How is it running in silence versus, because I don't know if I would probably have to have music, but I mean, yeah.
I do a mixture, man. Like
Okay.
I like both. If I'm running in a new area, I do like kind of being in silence because it makes me more aware of the surroundings in a safety way where it's like if I stumble upon like I came across like three giant bull elk with like huge antlers. They're just
Oh my
standing like
gosh.
literally right where I need to go. Um and so it was just good like I could hear them and stuff. But then also like when I'm running I want to be engulfed in like the place that I'm at and you kind of like you hear the birds chirping around you
Yeah.
and it just brings all your other senses to life because you're not like trying to distract yourself. You're kind of like intentionally trying to put yourself in it. So you can like smell the air and like feel the ground and all that stuff just a little bit better. Plus like I get lost in my own thoughts eventually.
Yeah,
And some of
as
the
we all, yeah,
thoughts are
yeah.
really deep and like meaningful. And then some of the thoughts are like the dumbest thing ever where I'll like repeat the same 5 seconds of a song in my head or
Right.
something, you know?
Yeah, 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 absolutely. So would you say those experiences of like trail running and all that stuff, because how early do you get up to do that? You're an early morning runner, right?
Yeah, but that's mostly like I have 3 kids, so it's mostly by necessity, I would say. So I
Okay.
woke up at 4 a.m. this morning and I don't
Oh my
love it
gosh.
waking up
Yeah, I
that
was
early.
gonna
But I
yeah.
do like for example, this morning I ran in the foothills near Denver, and I'm like up on top of this hill, and I'm looking down. I can see Denver, which is like a giant city full
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
bunch of people, and
Yeah.
I'm literally just up there with a bunch of deer, and it's just
Yeah.
me and a bunch of deer, and I'm like, well, this is kind of neat that I'm able to do this and have this to myself.
Yeah.
because there's so many things when you're in a big city that are shared experiences, which are great. But I'm like, there's also a point where like you do want to do things for yourself sometimes.
Yeah, what's interesting about that, as you mentioned, literally yesterday I was at the gym and I was just confirming the hours with them. They're like, yeah, we're 24 hours on these certain days. I'm like, but who works out at like 3 or 4 a.m.? She's like, actually, a decent amount of people do. The friend, because they said that like people like to work out that early because they want to just either start their day or they may just have a different like sh
Yeah,
work shift or something, but also because it's like hardly anybody's there. And so they don't have to
yeah.
like wait. They don't have to like wait to use equipment. They can just
True.
like go through and it's just like more of a individual, I don't know, like more, yeah, individual
I will
deal, I
say
guess.
it's
Yeah.
it's funny because like I do wake up and I do go run.
Yeah.
And when we lived in Virginia, like we had a 24-hour gym too, and I would go there at like
Yeah.
4:30 in the morning and
Yeah.
stuff. But every once in a while you'll meet somebody doing like I walked in the gym one morning, there was like three dudes there, like
Yeah.
doing bench press, and in my brain I was like, what are these weirdos doing here so
Yeah.
early? And then they're probably
Yes.
looking at me like, what is this weirdo
Yeah,
doing here so
doing so
early?
early. Yeah. Yeah. So I just thought that was like interesting, but they said that like yeah, that some people just like to come in really early just to start their day and or just not have to wait to use equipment
Yeah,
and just want to be able
totally,
to go
man.
from one to the other. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess that makes sense. So I have not been there that early, but kudos to anyone that that does. So
Yeah.
with your film, tell us about the other individuals that were involved in your most recent one. Like, were they friends? Were they colleagues? Were they people, family members? Like, tell us about the other members of and how you got them involved in your film.
Yeah, so in this one, it was all it was interesting because when we were coming up with the idea, it was we had the idea for the adventure, which I've already
Yeah,
explained. It was like 70 miles down a river.
yeah,
And then getting on bikes and ending at my mom's house, my childhood home. That's the general like basic adventure idea. But like I said, more importantly, I wanted to learn from the people that I invited along the way. And besides, like I invited my cousin Matt, and I'm so excited I did because I just love that guy so much. We've been childhood, obviously like best friends since childhood. Like I don't remember a time where Matt wasn't in my life. Like he's
yeah,
always been there. But everybody else that I invited, including the two guys who helped film it, they were all people who have become friends with me in my 30s. So like in the last 10
yeah,
years. And I thought that was important because one, I wanted to bring people who'd never been to Iowa. They didn't know me as a kid. They
yeah,
hadn't been to Muscatine. Like I just thought it would be cool to bring them to this part of the world that they probably would never visit. Um, so that was one reason, but also like I wanted to respect the idea of like I've made friends, meaningful friendships in my 30s.
yeah,
And I think that's been really special to me. Because I know at times it can be really hard to make friends when you're a busy adult and you're a busy guy and you're doing things for your family and you're at work and
mhm,
all that stuff. Like it's hard to make like the actual like deep meaningful friendships beyond just the like like you're nice to people and you kind of
yeah,
exchange pleasantries or whatever they say.
yes, yeah,
Um so I wanted to bring these guys who I'd met through multiple different outlets, I guess.
yeah,
One of them, Chris Cornejo, I work with every single day. He's the other sixth grade science teacher with me.
yeah,
And he's truly become one of my best friends in the whole world. We have the best time at work. Like most of
yeah,
the time, it doesn't feel like work. Like
right,
in between every period, I get to go out in the hallway and see one of my best friends, and we get to
hmm,
laugh and try to plan a lesson, and it's just really, really super duper fun. And then I brought the two filmmakers, James and Josh, who we can kind of go back to, but they helped me um, make the first film. So we were like a big collaborative team on the first film.
that's nice,
And I
yeah,
met them through setting the goal for that project. And then, well, and we can come back to this whole story
oh
too,
yeah,
but
yeah,
like
yeah,
figuring out how to get it done, I met them through that. And since then, we've actually become really, really good friends because Josh was our co-director and editor. I mean, I call Josh almost every single day now, and
Yeah.
we talk about we've talked about our creative projects, but beyond that now, like we're just friends and we talk about
Yeah.
life and we talk about, other movies and art that we've seen and stuff like that. And then the last guy that I brought on the trip was Phil Pinty. Uh, and all of this is going to smush together into a big story here, but I met Phil Pinty in 2018 at a stage race, a trail running race. He had been going through, he had lost his wife like 2.5 years before. So he had been going through a tough time and trying to like figure out where he's at in the world, I guess. And I kind of felt the same way. So we were kind of like kindred spirits.
Yeah.
And we met during that race, which was like a 6-day race across the desert. Um, so you're running during the day, but at night you're camping and you're sharing stories and you're bonding and things like that. So since then, we've become really good friends as well. So I kind of wanted, and we've gone on many, many multiple day adventures since then. So I wanted to bring him along because I think he gets what these wilderness experiences can do
Yeah.
um for a person and for like a community. So
Yeah.
yeah, those are like the
Yeah. Yeah. Because I was gonna ask, like, so besides him, did the other guys have wilderness experience? Like, did you have to do like convincing to get them on board to be a part of this project? To be like, hey, we're gonna go down this long, yeah, this long.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they all do.
Yeah.
My
Oh, okay.
cousin my cousin Matt's like an outdoorsman, always has been.
Yeah.
So I knew he would be totally fine. And then Cornejo and the James and Josh, our filmmakers, they all did our first movie with
Right.
us. So
Yeah.
I had been out there with them because Cornejo was filming that first movie with us as well. And like you can see him in if you watch that one, you can see him every once in a while like holding the camera and
Hold the
stuff.
camera. Yeah.
So I knew that they're all very adaptable and they're
Yeah.
all very much like I guess I call them like why not people, where
Yeah.
it's like you come up with them with an idea and instead of saying like why do you want to do this? Why
Yeah.
what about all these problems? They're basically like, yeah, let's go. Why not? Like
Yeah.
let's give it a shot and see what happens. And
Yeah.
I just really respect that and I think that kind of attitude does really well in wilderness adventures
Yeah.
because you're just adaptable. You just are going with the
Yep.
flow, figuring things out as they come. Versus like I think especially in like wilderness adventures, but also like filmmaking and creativity, like rigidity, like being super like stuck in your ways or rigid, does not pay off because you have to be able to go with the flow because unexpected things are going to happen. You just kind of have to go in with that mindset and just
Yeah.
know and have the confidence like, oh, I can adapt and kind of overcome.
Yeah. Would you say that it was pretty, I don't want to say like, not that the first time was hard, but when you made the first film and because you used the same filmmakers, do you feel like this was like and you knew how I guess how the whole process went more? Did you feel like making the second film was maybe, I don't want to say easier, but was it in a way
It
easier or?
Yeah, we did some things in the second one that I knew was going to help get it actually finished.
Yeah.
Um, so I'll take you all the way back to the first one if that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So 2018, I met this guy Phil Pinty, but also on that race, and I just randomly signed up for the race. I signed up because it was thrown at me as an opportunity. I've done like an outdoor adventure podcast called Like a Bigfoot for like 10 years now. And because of that project, I got this stage race thrown at me where basically it was like, hey, like we're gonna run 150 miles through the desert in June. Uh,
Uh,
do you want to give it a shot? And my instant reaction was like, no, I don't
yeah.
want to give it a
No.
shot. That
Yeah.
sounds
Yeah.
like that. I don't think I can do it.
Oh.
I
Oh.
remember specifically thinking like I know exactly where I was when I was like, I don't think I can do that. And I remember having that thought. Um, but then getting the encouragement of like, well, why don't you just go out and give it a shot? So I was like, okay, I'll go out and give it a shot. And so I went out there 2018. I didn't know anyone else in the race or anything like that. There was like 30 of us doing the run. Um, and I met people who to this day are like some of my best friends and who
Yeah.
we've really bonded. And I was actually surprised during that race that it was less suffering. Like I thought it was going to be like 90% suffering and like
Yeah.
10% fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it ended up being like the exact opposite. It was like 10% suffering, 90% really fun and
Oh,
awesome. And I remember on day one, I'm running and I start talking to this guy, and his name's Paul Shearing. And we just kind of instantly bonded, instantly
yeah.
connected. And I ended up running with him for like the first 3 days of that race. We were just lockstep together for most of it. The second day was really hard, and I just remember being with Paul and how supportive he was, and how fun and funny and all this stuff. And I got to talking with him, and I was like, "Hey man, like, what do you do?" Like just like figuring
Yeah.
out who this person is. And he was basically like, "Well, I'm a writer," and I was like, "Oh, that's awesome, man! Like, what kind of stuff do you write?" And he's like, "I'm a screenwriter." Uh, and after talking with him for a while, it turns out he is a director, a screenwriter, a showrunner. He created that show Prison Break,
Okay.
that was on Fox back in like the mid 2000s. And he was like, he was in charge of that, and he's done all this
Ah.
Hollywood stuff and whatnot. So then it instantly became like, we were, I was joking. Like the only thing I knew about Prison Break was this guy gets himself put in the same prison as his brother and has
Oh,
like the map
funny.
tattooed all over his body.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so we're running along on day two, and Paul's like, we get to a intersection in the road, and he's like, "Which way are we supposed to go?" And I was like, "Hold on, Paul. I tattooed the map onto my body so we can find it
Oh,
out." And
yeah.
he was just like, "Shut up, dude." But then there's
Yeah.
like instant like friendship.
Yeah.
So we ran that race. We finished. I was amazed. Like I felt like I got stronger each day. Like it truly was like paradigm shifting for me, where I'm like, oh
Mm-hmm.
my God, like I didn't think I could do it. And not only did I finish, but like the last 2 days I felt faster and stronger
Yeah.
than I did at the beginning. So it was like
Yeah.
kind of like mind blowing. So we ended up signing up, coming back the next year, 2019, doing the race again. There's only 10 of us this time.
Yeah.
So the whole time we're like top 10, baby. And
Yes.
Paul signed up, Phil signed up. So now we're doing the race again, and we're just loving it and all this stuff. Um, so 2020 comes around, and I just remember Paul is like this wise man. Like
Yeah.
I've had some like really deep life-changing conversations with him. He's taught me so much. Um and so 2020 comes along, we all get locked down. I'm like, I need to call Paul because he's gonna like put this into perspective in a smart way that like
Yes.
makes me calm. Like I
Yeah.
was like super
Yeah.
anxious, and as we all were.
Yeah.
So I just call him and we start talking and all this stuff. And he's making me feel good about the world and life and whatnot.
Yes. Yes.
And all of a sudden he's like, "Hey man, I kind of want to try to do a documentary." He was like, "If you interview anyone on your podcast that you think would be interesting, like let me know. Maybe I could try to like explore it as a documentary." And then I go, "Paul, what about like why wouldn't you just go film the Desert Rats stage race? Because
Yeah.
a bunch of a bunch of weirdos show up to it like we did."
Yeah.
They're like interesting people, and you also know like it's an interesting event. Like a lot of interesting things happen, like just through our 2 years of experience. Like there were so many stories we could tell just through those 2 years.
Yeah.
And I just remember that, like I remember being in the backyard on the phone, and he just paused, and he goes, "Well, why don't we just do it then?" And I was like, "I'm just a mild mannered middle school teacher,
No.
Paul." And he was like, "Nah, man." He's like, "We could do it." He's like, "We could figure it out." And that was like really cool and powerful because
Yeah.
it was, we gave ourselves like a year of
Yeah.
pre-production, just knowing like that we could figure it out. And
Yeah.
here I have this guy who's like a mentor figure, but also like a
Yeah.
friend. but also
Yeah.
someone who's new at documentaries.
Yeah.
So we're kind of like, he has all this experience filming things and the confidence and that I needed. So it was kind of like
Yeah.
sometimes you just need that catalyst to
Yeah.
like push you. And that's what Paul is in my life. Like he's just this catalyst that's like, no, you got this. Like you can figure it out.
Yeah.
You got it. And
I like how he just like came into your life too. Like,
yeah,
had you not signed up for
dude,
that race,
I have a
like,
picture on my phone of the day one of that race, like
yeah,
probably the first like 3 miles.
yeah,
And I just was taking a picture of the beautiful canyon,
yeah,
but Paul's running there. I'm like, I hadn't even introduced myself yet. And I'm like, little did I know this guy would like totally like change my life. Like honestly, like
yeah,
just by knowing him.
yeah,
And so anyway, so we figured it out. We were like, we started with nothing. We didn't know who was gonna show up to the race. We didn't have we we had ideas obviously, but like you don't know what's gonna happen.
yeah,
So we had to figure out logistics like how do we cover a 150-mile course through the desert, which is
yeah,
really rugged, way out there.
yeah.
Um, and we had basically 4 people filming. We figured out a cinematographer, which is my friend James, who came on this one. Uh, and that was just a random happenstance.
Yeah.
I had interviewed someone for the podcast who set the bike record on that trail, the Kokopelli Trail, and
Oh.
she just happened to mention like we had a film crew filming it, and I was like, "Can I have their names?"
Yes, for real. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so that's how I met James, and once he came out, it was interesting because he came out to film it. We had hired him, like hired hand kind of guy, and then when we were filming the actual race on day 2, it just got crazy. Like
Yeah.
truly like it was 118 degrees out there and these people are out there running 38 miles
Oh
with
God.
like
No.
Jared, like imagine like Mars. Like there's
Yeah.
no shade. It's truly
Oh.
like you're on a different planet.
Sounds, yeah.
It
Oh.
was crazy, like to the point where,
No.
we're driving around as the film crew
Yeah.
and I'm like checking in on everybody in the film crew. Like, are you drinking enough? Like, it was dangerous. It
Yeah.
was scary,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
But once that day happened, and James is driving around in his van and he's filming people and he's on his motorcycle filming people and throwing the drone up,
Yeah.
he was just like, he comes up to us at the end of the day. He's like, just on cloud nine. He's like, I
Yeah.
get it. He's like, I get what you guys were like so enraptured by. Like
Yeah.
he's like, this thing is crazy. But like the amount of like humanity you see in that
Yeah.
because it's so hard
Yeah.
and people are really struggling, you see a lot of people like helping each other out. Like the lead runner, Tim Barr, he's running with second place basically the whole day, right? Or third place or whatever. Like a guy that's
Yeah.
competing with him. They're competitors. But like partway through that race, like we were at an aid station, you see Tim like taking care of the other guy, like bringing him water, filling up his water bag,
Yeah.
patting him on the back. And at the end of that day, this Tim and this guy Mike, like they finished the race together, and Tim lets him go ahead and like win the day, win the stage. And it was just such a like wonderful
Yeah.
encapsulation of like what this whole event does. Because
Yeah.
even though it's a weird competitive thing, like people are supporting each other.
Yeah. Because
And
like not many people say they do this. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we went out and we like captured that event and it was awesome, man. Like I think we showed up, we like I said, we didn't know which runners we were featuring. So
Yeah.
we kind of let it play out naturally. And I guess I should the movie's called The Long Way from Nowhere. I should have said that at
Yeah.
the beginning. But
So
I'm bad at
yeah.
this.
No, yo.
uh but but we didn't know who we are going to feature, and then
Yeah.
we let it play out naturally. So we interviewed like 20 of the runners
Yeah.
before the race started, and then as it progressed we're like, okay, who's having interesting races? Like this dude Jason was like a guy you wouldn't expect him to be like an endurance runner. Just he's
Right.
like 6'6", like
Yeah.
over 200 pounds, like, and he just had like the greatest heart and
Yeah.
soul of anyone you've ever met. And so we're like, well, he's having an interesting race. His feet, like, we in our film, there's like body horror, like the bottom pad of his both of
I
his
can't
feet,
imagine.
like,
Yeah. Oh.
were the biggest blisters I've ever seen after that second
Oh.
day. And
Yeah.
they cut off those parts, which is disgusting. And he's just
Yeah.
eating a
Oh.
hamburger the whole time while they're cutting his feet off, basically. And then the next day they're like, "Well, is Jason gonna stop running?" And he's just like, "No." And he just keeps
Yeah.
going. And he just keeps going on like literally like I
Bone,
can't
baby. Yeah.
explain how bad the
Yeah.
blisters were.
Yeah.
And so that right away we're like, this is just pure human spirit and endurance and
Yeah.
stuff. So anyways, that was a long story, but that whole week of filming was so
Yeah.
fun and so adventurous and magical,
Yeah.
that I kind of got hooked. And then not only that, but like the post production, you have all
Yeah.
this footage now, and you're like, how do we make this into a story that makes sense to people, that can move
Yeah.
people? Um, and that's where I met this guy Josh, who's our editor, and Josh, Paul, and I, Paul's a screenwriter, Josh is an editor. Um, and so I'm just sitting here learning from these two guys who have all
Yeah.
this wonderful experience and listening to them talk to each other about the story and how to tell the story. And I learned so much, and I kind of just became hooked, I think.
Yeah. So like when you were being like recorded for your documentaries, like for your most recent ones especially too, like did you find it, I don't say hard, I don't know if that's the right word, but like when you were like, did you feel like you had to be like scripted in a way, or did you feel like it was just like, oh, the camera, like, did it feel like the cameras weren't there that you could be like natural? Not saying you were acting at all,
Yeah.
but just like, how did that feel, or like, how was that for you?
Yeah, I think that's honestly like one of the magical parts of documentaries. Like if people
Yeah,
can do it, if the
yeah,
filmmakers can make people comfortable enough
yes,
where they're
yeah,
just having a conversation
yeah,
versus they're being interviewed with cameras and stuff like that.
right,
And
yeah,
I think that's like it's a real challenge. But I think if you can get that to work, that's when the magic kind of happens. So
yeah,
during every interview, when it wasn't me, and we'll talk about why it was me eventually, because I
yeah,
think it
yeah,
plays
yeah,
into all this. But like during our first movie and this one, like every time you see like a sit down interview, that
yeah,
person is looking me directly into the eyes, like, and I just laugh. I'm like, everything they were saying when we'd interview them was like going into my soul. So like
yeah, yeah,
when they're tearing up, I'm like sitting behind the camera, like I'm tearing up, like listening
yeah,
to their stories. And I think that's it was really powerful to me in the moment, but it's
yeah,
powerful to me like watching back. I'm like, I've
yeah,
seen these movies like
yeah,
300 times at this point in
yes,
every
yeah,
iteration, and I'm still tearing up at some of the things they say. Um, for this second one, it was a journey going back to my childhood home in Iowa. It seemed like a very selfish,
yeah,
egotistical thing. And that was the first note I made in my phone was like, this can't be like a vanity project. Like that it needs to be authentic. Like,
yeah,
why are we going back to Iowa? Why are we going back to Muscatine? Part of it was I wanted to explore that area as a
yeah,
filmmaker. Like
yeah.
I think it truly is like a really beautiful place that I probably took for granted as a kid because that's just what you're used to,
That's yeah,
and then same with like the themes, like these were such personal themes to me. I'm like, well, it wouldn't make any sense if it was random people going back to Muscatine, you
right,
know.
right, yeah,
Beyond that, as a busy adult, which is what this movie's all about, is about the overwhelming busyness of being an adult. I was like, post production takes so much time and so much planning.
yeah,
So if I'm relying on other people, like if I'm like, oh, hey, I have to call this other person up because we forgot to ask them a question, that now with the rough draft of the movie, we're like, it would be great if they could talk about blank, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
That took a lot of planning and scheduling and things like that. And now, as my kids are older, like my time to schedule things is like slim.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I can hear
Yeah.
them upstairs right now,
Yes. Yeah.
running around. But so I was when we were like, well, we want to do another movie because we loved the process. We loved the
Yeah.
group of guys that were our production crew. We were kind of like, if we did it where I was involved in it, now all of a sudden I can be super flexible on my own schedule because if there is something we needed to pick up or add an idea in later, I can just run downstairs
Yeah.
and try to record some audio that
Yeah.
takes like 10 minutes. We'll figure out which one works the best. And it made the post production go a lot faster, I guess,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
it was a mixture of basically like